when you think about working with us, what advice would you have for the audience here? Like, okay, how would you approach it? What do you think has been good and what hasn't been so good?
Okay, thanks for putting me on the spot.
Yeah.
I think the first great thing about working with Ford is I can literally go anywhere, talk to an FCC commissioner or a general or someone that tracks whales and say, we're working with Ford, and that immediately legitimizes the company tremendously. So thank you for that. And I'm
glad we could be help with the whales. That's awesome.
Yeah. Everyone loves the whales, right?
Exactly. I actually, believe it or not, have a whale tracker on my phone, but that's a whole other thing.
We'll have that probably within a year, yes. So I think that, adds a lot of credibility, and it's probably opened doors for us, to be honest, with some of our other partners. I think it's also been great training ground for us in how to work with a big enterprise. So when we raised our Series A, we were 4.5 people. We're now 16. So we all wear multiple hats. And I think the key thing I've learned in working with enterprise, I'm an aerospace engineer, not a business person, so I'm trying to figure this out as we go. I'm becoming a business person, obviously, is that it's really important to have multiple touch points within the organization. So we were lucky enough to meet the CEO and the chairman of the board first. That helped. And then we met Ken, the CTO, after that. And then we met folks at Autonomic, which was a partner company that was acquired. And we now have multiple kind of interactions up and down the chain. And depending, if we're trying to close a pilot or we're trying to work on PR or we're trying to work through regulatory challenges, we have those multiple touch points. And that's something that as I interview heads of sales who have done this their entire careers, they recognize the importance of that. So that's something that we've learned through this experience. I would say that, we need to be patient as a startup that puts satellites up every few months. We move very, very quickly. And sometimes we need to kind of let Ford figure things out and then move forward with our pilot. But they've also been able to move quickly when we need to. So for example, we did this great demo in advance of CES where we had a Ford vehicle send messages to our gateways, to our satellites, to our ground systems, to their back end. And people were jumped into our lab the day after the trigger was pulled that we were going to do the demo. So the resources are there. And we look forward to continuing the partnership and piloting with you guys. We see ourselves as a puzzle piece in this mobility challenge and working with you moving forward.
Well, thank you. So on the frustration, I don't mean well in the negative, but the reason I ask is so many young companies come to us and really want to partner with us, but they're terrified of either being smothered by us or being dramatically slowed down by us. And you mentioned that the speed is something that you find is perhaps a bit of a challenge, right?
Yeah, I think one thing that as a company, especially with a company with multiple use cases across multiple verticals, we think about focus a lot. So, we could get distracted by the whales and literally spend all of our time on that, but that's not going to lead to a commercial business. So something that we've been very strategic about is figuring out what verticals we want to work in and kind of doing these sprints. So we did a sprint in agriculture, and then a sprint in maritime, and then a sprint in connected car, and then a sprint in another tech company that wants to connect people of kind of 2 to 3 months. We were also able to realize that a lot of the use cases actually boil down to kind of 2 things. It's either a device sending messages or it's a person messaging to the satellite. So the tech is actually the same. And we're able to pilot with multiple people using that same basic tech. Our embedded firmware engineers don't need to know if it's Ford or government or whales. They're just working on this widget because we boil down requirements to the point where it's broadly applicable. So I think that's also helped us maintain focus, but it's something that will certainly be challenging as we move forward, especially with multiple parallel pilots.
Yeah.
But wherever the money comes, we pilot with those people first.
Thank you.